Time travel. It's not a superpower. It's a disability. It's what's wrong with me.
My first question is to Theo. How do you differentiate your character to know which one is actually in a scene? Because sometimes it's a mashup, and I can feel you have to go and merges work for that.
Yeah, it was definitely tricky, and it was something that we worked, on a lot, and David helped with, and Rose and I had this great kind of movement coach for when we were playing different versions of ourselves at different ages. But it was something that I had to really anchor myself every morning, because luckily most of the time I'd get to play one version of him one day. I didn't have to switch between the days. Sometimes I had to switch, but very rarely. But mainly it was one day being Henry of that age. And that helped, because you wake up and you think, okay, I know who I am today. I'm the older guy. I move a little slower. I'm a bit more thoughtful. I have less chips on my shoulder, and you kind of start etching that into your, into how you're waking up in the day. And that kind of proceeds through the rest of the day. And then the next day you'll be playing the younger one. So you have to kind of remind yourself. But it was a bit of a head, fuck at times, especially with the as you saw in episode 4, when there's double Henrys. That was tricky.
And Rose, how do you build up the love to a character that first you hate, but in your mind you know that there is a goal? You can change him. You can actually mold him to a guy you are in love with. But this stage for an actor to build it up, it's hard. How did you do it?
Well, I think it was, I loved that Claire had those kind of blips within her thought process on whether she did want to commit herself to a life of being married to a time traveller. So you're so right. I think that it's very human and kind of realistic of her to have those doubts. But I suppose I knew that, or I was aware from the book and from the way that Stephen wrote Claire, that she has this innate belief, kind of like unwavering faith, that these two are going to be together, that they belong to one another. And I think that kind of helped her being steadfast in persevering with Henry and kind of giving him time to become the man who she knows that he will become.
Because for me, it was very humorous when I saw Henry that didn't want you, and you said, like, I'm your wife, I'm your future wife. You cannot do anything right now. You have to obey me. So,
yeah, and that was glorious, because I know that the shoe finally then was on the other foot, because for years and years, the younger version of Claire was being kind of, not dictated to, but was kind of like being spoken to by older Henry, that this is going to be the steps that, that are going to happen throughout your life without giving too much away. And so it felt really nice. It felt like a kind of full circle, and the fact that Claire was then able at that Thai restaurant to take some responsibility for them as a team was satisfying.
And my final question to you both: do you actually believe in such a true love beyond time, or it's only a fiction for TV and cinema?
It's all a lie. Yeah. It's all a lie. Yeah, definitely cynical. No, I mean, I hope so. Otherwise, I don't know. Yeah, I hope so.
And I hope, and I'm with you. I hope so as well. I hope that the kind of the journey and the resolve that we see and the resilience that we see that these characters put themselves through to stay together. I think that that's very true of the journey that you undertake when you find somebody who you wish to spend time with.
Yeah, going through the good and the bad and everything in between. Yeah.
And knowing that it can be shitty.